All right, thank you for being here on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. I can't believe it's March already, whereas this year flying to. This is the City Council regular meeting. At this time, we'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'd like to invite Pastor Gary Williams from Journey United Methodist Fellowship to please come forward and give us our invocation, after which we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Rich Vidiello. So please rise, and Pastor, would you make sure to push the button on that so the little green light is showing?
It's showing.
Awesome.
Holy One, you are known by many names: Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, Spirit of justice, and Creator of all things. The leaders of this community are gathered here tonight. We ask your blessings as they consider the business of governing the city of Maricopa. Grant that they might hear the issues before them. Grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May they speak out when it is right to do so, and listen patiently and respectfully when it is time to listen. And may the spirit of community, the spirit of justice, and the spirit of love guide their decisions. In the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, all that is good, right, and true, we ask it. May it be so.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate that invocation. This time we'll move to a roll call.
Councilmember Learman?
Here.
Councilmember Manfredi?
Here.
Councilmember Marsh?
Here.
Councilmember Vidiello? Councilmember Wade? Vice Mayor Smith? Mayor Price?
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. As you heard, Councilmember Vidiello is joining us, Councilmember Manfredi, apologies, is joining us by phone. So Councilmember Manfredi, if you need to get in touch with us, just holler. We'll make sure to switch to you. At this time, that'll take us to proclamations, acknowledgements, and awards. Nothing in that category, and then report from the mayor and council members. So council, I'll turn some time over to you. So we'll start here with Vice Mayor and then move on to Councilmember Marsh.
Thank you, Mayor. So in the past couple of weeks, I participated in the Pinal Partnership Breakfast, which actually was really very interesting. Their guest speakers were Nikola, the electric truck company from the Coolidge area, ACA, the Arizona Commerce Authority, Lucid, which is the electric cars over in Casa Grande, and Resolution Copper. Some notable takeaways for me: very interesting comments from Lucid, who commented that they were watching any discussions on transportation, specifically I-10 expansion and the Maricopa-Casa Grande Highway, which is important to them, which is our east-west corridor that's on our transportation plans. These routes are important for many reasons, but important for the transportation to and from work for those who live in Maricopa is one of their important qualities. And so that's important for us to know if we can ever bring Lucid into the conversation on transportation. I know that they'd be heavily willing to participate. The Pinal County, the comments were made during the Pinal breakfast that Pinal County was successful getting these companies because of the ease to work with, the regional training facilities through CAC that were provided, and Lucid specifically mentioned that Pinal County and Casa Grande stayed strong with them through the entire process, including the startup challenges. Now, we all know that the city of Maricopa does a great job doing that too, but it just goes to show how critically important that is to be working with a company that's going to be bringing that type of economic development to our city in terms of providing high-paying jobs as well. So important notes to take there. With regard to economic development, I just had to tell this story. I went in at 11:45 on Saturday to buy sandwiches for those that were volunteering at a shredding event at Subway. And I was shocked. I thought, I'm going to beat all the rush. I'm going to be right there on time. I'm going to have those sandwiches on time, deliver them on time. I was 7th in line. And then when I realized there was a volleyball tournament, a soccer tournament, and a softball tournament all going on. License plates in the parking lot, New Mexico, Kentucky, all from the lower southern region, many, many different states. It was amazing. And so if you ever doubt what offerings at the city of Maricopa do in terms of economic prosperity, have no fear. I mean, that Subway was packed, and they told me when I was in line that it is packed during Saturdays and Sundays all the time, and I'm sure there are many restaurants and other entities, businesses in the city of Maricopa who benefit from that as well. So pretty cool. And then the shredding event, I stopped off and delivered those sandwiches. They had a record-breaking number of cars that came through, and not only did they drop off their shedding paperwork, they also dropped off many, many pounds and $250 worth of dollars to be donated to the food bank. So pounds of food and dollars to be donated, plus getting rid of all that paperwork out of their house. So a really cool event. Elizabeth, I was hoping she would be here and give a report. She did a great job planning that, and it really benefited our city hugely. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Marsh.
I had another busy couple weeks. On the 18th of February, I attended the Cultural Affairs and Arts Committee, where they spoke about the city manager's arts project that's coming out later this month with horses painted by different artists. You've seen cows, pigs, whatever in other cities. Well, Maricopa has horses, and that'll be dedicated later this month. On the 23rd, I attended the state government-focused morning scoop briefing put on by the Arizona Capital Times. On the 25th, an infrastructure briefing at the state level, a GPEC meeting, Greater Phoenix Economic Council meeting, and the Central Arizona Government's annual legislative day, where we covered what's going through the legislature this month. On the 26th, I also attended the Pinal Partnership Breakfast meeting with Nancy, Vice Mayor Smith, and on the 27th, I worked my wife and I worked the Maricopa Shred-a-thon, and like Vice Mayor Smith said, we had 165 cars come through and collected thousands of pounds of food for FOR Maricopa and shredded a record quantity of paper. And thanks to Councilmember Vitiello and Vice Mayor Smith for their participation in that. On Monday, March 1st, I worked the Copper Sky COVID vaccination effort, where we gave the second vaccinations to several hundred Maricopa citizens. On the second, today, I attended another morning scoop with the Arizona Capital Times, and also the Central Arizona Project non-Indian agriculture water briefing. They outlined how they allocate the low priority water flows to cities and agricultural efforts. Some of the things I learned in the last 2 weeks: in 2020, Arizona led the nation with the highest personal income growth rate at 8.5% in Q2 2020, for example. And that's according to a new report from the Pew Charitable Trust. Our state's gains significantly outpaced the national average of 5.9%. We were at 8.5% growth. Second, tech salaries in Phoenix are among the fastest growing in the nation, according to a new report from Dice.com. That's the main technical recruiting website. Salaries in the Phoenix area increased by 7.6% to an average of $95,000 per year, outpacing the national average of 3.6%. So tech jobs are hot in Phoenix. And third, I learned that more than 325,000 new Arizona jobs are projected to be created by the spring of 2022, according to the new report from ACA's Office of Economic Opportunity. This represents a 5.5% annual growth rate. So the Phoenix area is on the move. You want to see COVID recovery, just watch this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Great information. Yes, we'll go to Councilmember Learman and come to Councilmember Wade.
This past Saturday, I had the privilege of spending the morning with Maricopa Fire Department, Fire Station 571, learning about the various ways they serve our community. I was impressed to hear of the specialized training that they receive, and I was especially amazed by the role technology is used by our department to save lives. A highlight of my morning was going up in the bucket on the ladder truck, 76 feet, and catching a view of the whole entire city. I want to thank Captain Davis and his crew of heroes for a wonderful and informative experience.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. And been pretty busy around the house here as well. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned today is National Women's History Month starts today. Of course, we would be remiss if we didn't identify the fact that our country has a rich history, and women play a major role in that history as well. So glad to see that Women's History Month is being recognized as it is. My spouse and I hope she's going to talk a little bit later. I'll just say a little bit about it. We're participating in the Emergency Rent Assistance Program that Department of Economic Security is doing in connection with Pinal County. Pinal County, actually, Maricopa County has been offering rental assistance programs for a number of months. And Pinal County was not one of the ones that were participating, so now Pinal County is. We held an information activity here at City Hall to inform people what the program was all about, and also made it possible for people to come in and submit their application here at City Hall if they wanted to do so. We'll be doing that again on March 8th. Unfortunately, the day that the portal was supposed to be open from DES, they underestimated the number of people who might come forward to utilize the system, so the system shut down. They've been able to fix that, and so we'll be here again on the 8th. The program is available for people who need rental assistance. They've been impacted by COVID-19, and it will be going on until December 31st of 2021. So we'll do a couple more of these just to give people an opportunity to come in and submit their applications. On the 20th, there was an outstanding concert in the park supporting Black History Month. There was probably 450 people there. And it was nice to see the mayor, vice mayor, other council members. Rich Vitiello was there, and it was a great concert. You can't call it anything else but great. It was really, really, really good. So I want to give a shout out to the Ojohn family who were a part of it. And also there was a gentleman that we, at our last city council meeting, did a proclamation to his wife, Gemini Porter. And it was a brainchild of his, and it was nice to see. And unfortunately, he passed away, and he was not able to see this. But we recognized him as well. On the 27th, we had a movie in the park. The movie in the park at Copper Sky was Lean on Me. It was a hit. People seemed to enjoy it. We had popcorn, hot chocolate, sodas, everything and water, everything for the moviegoer. And it was then on Sunday, yesterday, we had poetry at Honeycut Coffee. It was well attended with poetry and some dancing and giveaways and beverages and some adult beverages. And so it turned out to be a really nice way to end Black History Month. It was very positive. By the way, myself and Councilmember Marsh and also Vice Mayor will be participating in a poetry slam here that's going to be held. This is, I think, the third or fourth year that they've held a poetry slam here and at Chamber. Actually in Maricopa, but second year they've held it here at Chamber. I'm looking forward to doing that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Vitiello.
So as everybody may know, or if you don't know, we had two very big successful days handing out shots at Copper Sky. We gave out 200 shots on the 27th, and then we gave out 380 yesterday. I do want to thank the city. I want to thank all the volunteers. I also want to thank Southwest Pediatrics and Family Care for having staff out there and administering all these shots. And again, without the city and the doctor's office handing these out, we never would have been able to do this. So they are leading the way to give out shots, at least outside of Florence now, having their big center, that they're the only ones out there here in Maricopa, the city, and Southwest Pediatrics. Again, I want to thank all the volunteers, all the Maricopa City staff for doing what they do. They come out and they work hard and they take care of all these people. So also PD, CERT, I hope I don't miss anybody, but everybody out there who showed up, thank you very much for what you do, because you do take your time out of your day. So I hope we can continue doing these things and getting more shots for our residents here in Maricopa. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Appreciate it. Okay. Not hearing Councilmember Manfredi, I'll just go ahead and close this up here. Obviously, it's been an incredibly busy time, as you've heard from our council members, and not to repeat anything that they've said that we've crisscrossed and paths and participated in, but just wanted to give you a couple of heads up here. First off is that we have not heard yet any information on what is called the PRTA, which is the Pinal Regional Transit Authority. That was a November 2017 voter proposition 416-417 that was passed by the voters in Pinal County to pay for projects, the half-cent sales tax on retail goods that you purchase, to help pay for big roadway projects that need funding. And that has gone into a lawsuit, went to the Superior Court, then on to the appellate court, and then ultimately here a few months ago to the Supreme Court. We should hear from them in mid-summer as to their decision. So we, at least on our side, have our fingers crossed that they'll see it our way and that this proposition can stand, so that we can get these big roadways built. Just so you know, the city of Maricopa has approximately $100 million at stake there for the 347 and also the east-west corridor is what we call it. And that is really important to helping move our community and here and there, and also the quality of life that we all enjoy. The reason I bring that up is I spent 2 hours on the phone today with several mayors and others where we created what is known as the Policies and Procedures Manual on how the board will operate on this PRTA. That's been a lot of concern for residents. It's modeled after one that has been in use for many, many years off of Pima counties. And so it is uniquely ours. We took some things out and added some things that are specifically for us based on the way the language was in the voter proposition. But at the end of the day, I think it's still got to come to the full board for a vote, but I think it's looking really good, and it will help deal with that ability to both follow what the voters have said while simultaneously say that, things happen and you don't always know if a project's going to come to being, or, if the right-of-way is going to be acquired, and then what happens to that money and where does it go, and, how does it get utilized. And just by way of information for the public, one of the things that I was able to clarify for them today was a personal beef that I have. And if you remember in the 2017 voter proposition pamphlet, it specifically got cute with a word phraseology that they like to use where they said parking lot. And so basically it was intended to say contingency, but they used the word parking lot. And so now, there were many people out there that continued to repeat that as though all the money was going to parking lots and not to roadway projects. And that's simply not the case. But I was able to convey that needs to leave the vernacular. And while it says it in the voter proposition pamphlet, parking lot actually does mean contingency. So it will say that moving forward. But that way it helps clarify. And then last but not least, just so you all know, we have Representative Brett Roberts in the audience with us today. Thank you, Brett, for being here. We really appreciate, as you have been following along with the city emails and Facebook posts, etc. We have been working diligently with Representative Roberts on a bill that he dropped on our behalf at the Arizona House at the start of this legislative session. It cleared the House. This is a $35 million appropriation from the general fund of the Arizona state budget for a Riggs Road overpass, which is only one piece of a larger scoping project. So whether it's widening, whether it's overpasses, whether it's the construction of the reconstruction of the I-10 Queen Creek interchange. It's called a TI, a traffic interchange. That interchange was basically built 35, 40 years ago. It was never intended to handle the volume of traffic that it is handling now. So it has to be adjusted. But at the same time, that's a big chunk of change. And so as we've learned in the overpass project, you have to come to the table with dollars. And once you do and you have money in the pot, it helps move things much more quickly. And you're able to leverage other dollars in other projects or other pieces of other jurisdictions to help this project get accomplished. And so Representative Roberts was able to shepherd this bill over through the House to the Senate. It just cleared Senate appropriations tonight, 9-1. Congratulations. We are very excited about this, and it's a real big step in the right direction. So we appreciate all the emails that have been sent on behalf of the residents, those who participated, those who signed in on the bill, and I was able to testify along with Representative Roberts tonight and explain to the members of the Appropriation Committee how important this is for us and our quality of life. It will probably go to the box now, is what it's called, where they will take all these types of appropriation bills, especially transportation-related ones, and they'll have to see how it fits into the overall budget. And you will see an item on our agenda a little bit later tonight where the city of Maricopa is being asked to contribute as well. And obviously we know how important that is to us and to our residents. So again, without prejudicing anything on a vote tonight, I certainly want to just acknowledge the fact that that is the idea and the purpose. We did testify in committee that it is something that we have been working towards, so hopefully we'll see a positive resolution on that. Well, with that completes my report at this time, and we'll move on to a report from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just one item tonight. As you know, we're preparing to have a study session with regard to the marijuana issue. So we're proposing Tuesday night, April 6th, from 5 to 7 p.m. prior to our regular city council meeting. And that way we can get word out to the public as quickly as possible. Staff will be finishing up our due diligence in a meeting later this week, and then we'll be formulating our presentation to bring to you and to the members of our community at that time, if that date and time works for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. And then Carol can follow up with scheduling everybody, but again, that is a typical city council night, so if we can all be here a little early, that would be wonderful to hear from the public, some of their ideas, and then obviously what staff has found at that point. So wonderful. Thank you, City Manager. Appreciate it. That'll take us to item 6 at this time, which is the call to the public. So I don't have any speaker cards. If anyone wants to approach the podium, tell us what's on your mind. We'll give you 3 minutes to do so, and time is yours.
I think I'll take advantage of the time. So Mayor, council members, I just wanted to come in tonight. You heard the mayor already talk about what we've been working on actually the past couple of years. I dropped that bill last year and got it out of the House. And unfortunately, with so many other pieces of legislation, due to the short session, because of COVID, it died in session last year. We went back this year. As the mayor stated, we got it out of Senator Probst tonight. Typically, budget bills go into the box, as we refer to it, and then luckily, LD11 has a member that sits in that committee that will be in there negotiating on the budget. That's Senator Leach. I just want to say that my seatmates have helped out on this as well. I want to give credit to the city staff as far as Dale Weebush and Todd Bowman. They come in my office on a regular basis. We have a weekly meeting where we talk about stuff for the city and things of that nature, but this has been the major project that we've been working on for the past couple of years. I just wanted to take an opportunity because I see in comments on social media for the public, a lot of times we get confused that this overpass it's not an end-all, be-all, fix-all kind of a situation. And I chose this particular portion of the project of the overall 347 widening project because it's the most problematic safety-wise, having had about approximately 9 deaths in the past 2 years. We just had a serious accident there last weekend. We continuously have that, as everyone in Maricopa knows. So that's the reason why I chose that first. I did have a conversation with Eric Anderson from MAG a couple days ago. They are committed to going through the couch cushions, if you will, to find some money for this project as well. I'm here tonight because I wanted to see what you guys have on the agenda, go through. I wanted to be here for that. We're working with a bunch of different entities as far as trying to get some commitments from Gila River and things of that nature. The RTA lawsuit, hopefully, that, like the mayor said, that goes in our favor, and that'll bring in another approximately $30 million towards this overall project that will run north of $150 million altogether, from the interchange, from widening, from the overpass, from all of it together. So things are moving along, and I'm happy that we're at this point in this particular juncture on this, and happy to see that it's going into the box and it will be negotiated. Just remains to be seen what the overall figure and the time frame of the funds that we'll get, whether or not it'll be a one-time appropriation or it will be over a couple years, or things of that nature. But if you guys had any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Awesome. Thank you, Representative Roberts. Appreciate it. It's technically called to public, so we can't ask many questions, but we did think that if you had been stuck at Riggs Road and had to call in, that really would have proved the point a lot better tonight, but we're glad you're here with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else at this time?
Mayor, can you hear me? Mayor and council, my name is Gail Randolph, and I'm the branch manager and certified housing counselor for NID Housing Counseling. And as Councilmember Wade mentioned, we've been hosting the DES Special Rental Assistance Program. And I just wanted to reiterate that if any of you guys are struggling again with your rent, please come out or please call me. Councilmember Wade and I do this kind of stuff every day as our day jobs. So as I said, I was a certified counselor. So please call me. I'll even give you my cell number. It's 602-390-4953. So far, we've helped, gosh, I want to say probably at least 70 myself. And make sure that when you come, if you're going to come on the 8th, like Councilmember Wade mentioned, that you bring all of your paperwork, because we are actually going to help you scan it in. There's some folks that might not be computer literate or maybe a little nervous about the program. So please come in. And they are adding your utility bills as well. So if you're late on that, please, bring those paperwork as well. The website is des.gov/ERAP. And that is covering 12 counties. And of course, Pinal County has been included in that. A couple of other things real quick. Forbearances and foreclosures have been delayed until June. If for some reason you're still struggling with the mortgage, you still have until June to do a forbearance, and I can help you with those as well. One other thing, the Pinal County Section 8 drop-down is open. It hasn't been open since 2017. So if anybody wants to apply for that, you have until March 29th at 4 p.m. to apply. And the phone number for that, they're actually doing old school where you call in. So it's 520-866-7202, and it's 520-866-7202, and that's for Pinal County. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Before she goes, I wanted to just add something. I wanted to recognize the staff of the community services and IT for the effort that they put out to make sure that the equipment was up and ready and the room was ready. These guys are magic. They create magic. And I just want to say thank you, personally, for all the efforts that they have undertaken, all the equipment they were moving around and making this place look like a place to do business. So thank you.
And in terms of social distancing, everything, we even had a tray for old pens and new pens. The IT person coded something special, so as soon as you are done with your application, there was a button to erase everything. They were awesome. They were even giving suggestions on what the DES IT should have done so we would not have crashed. But I appreciate everybody's patience, because that was hard on Tuesday, but everybody hung in there till the last minute, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. Anyone else at this time like to approach the podium? Okay, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public this time. Thank you for your participation this evening. And that'll take us to the consent agenda. Council members, anything on consent you need answers to or questions on? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to pull 7.6, Resolution 21-11. I wanted, because the representative spoke during the call to the public, I wanted to make sure that any council members who had questions had the opportunity to ask those. And I just personally wanted to thank him for the work that he's put together for this over the last 2 years. But I also want to just expound my gratitude as well. I know when I posted the need and the call for the public to react, I actually received an email back from a representative that I had written to, and he said, wow, what did you guys do? I've been inundated with letters. And so it works. Maricopa is awesome. They really make it happen, and I wanted to give that gratitude to those that participated in that effort. So I'll turn it over to you, Mayor.
Okay, so we have item 7.6 being pulled from consent. Anything else at this time on consent you have questions or concerns over? If not, can I have a motion to approve consent, please? I have a motion from Councilmember Wade. Is there a second? Second from Councilmember Marsh. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. That'll take us to item 7.6. Vice Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I accidentally spoke too soon. So just remember what I said prior, but I know that you want to speak as well.
So this is a great example. This is a resolution passed, if it should pass, passed by the city of Maricopa, basically allocating approximately $1 million towards the Riggs Road overpass. Now, why this is important is a variety of things, and $1 million might sound like a ton for you. It might sound like not very much, and in the scheme of things, things when you're talking roadway projects, where Representative Roberts just talked about, this trifecta of projects can cost $150, $200 million. We got some work ahead of us to make sure that we're able to move this whole thing forward. But piecemeal, it all starts somewhere. And the reality is that, by taking this money that is in our general fund, and not necessarily right now because it's not required today, but we're passing this resolution that will commit these transportation dollars towards a future time upon which construction is ready or design is ready or other things that are needed. It really sends a strong message to both the state, to ADOT, to Pinal County, to Maricopa County, to all the different entities, Gila River, involved, because this doesn't even reside in our jurisdiction. Right? It's outside of our city limits, but we all know that 80, 90%, well, all of us at some point while living in the city of Maricopa commute up to 347 to get somewhere, right? Whether to get to the I-10, to go north, to go west, east, somewhere else. At some point, it's a critical artery for us. And so, I think that what is important at this time is keeping an open mind. I think that approximately $1 million certainly sets the tone. We could sit here and say 5, we could say 10, you could say 100, but I think that, certainly we want to bankrupt the city. At the same time, I think that we need to see and keep an open mind as we get closer. We can talk about perhaps additional monies if those are available at the time, but I think that this is a great move and step in the right direction. Plus, it also then goes towards, what Representative Roberts and I have told Senate Appropriations Committee and also the Arizona House as to the way that Maricopa does it. When we believe in something, we put our money where our mouth is. So that's what it all boils down to. So with that, anyone else have any comments on it? If not, yes, Councilor Marsh.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution 2111.
Perfect. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye, sorry.
I assume that's an aye for the aye and not for an opposition, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Manfredi. So by a vote of 7-0, that passes. Thank you very much, Council, for your commitment to the city. All right, that'll take us to item 8.1. This is an ordinance. This is an ordinance of the mayor of the city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, approving and adopting an amendment to the city's zoning map to rezone approximately 35.24 acres of land generally located on the southeast corner of Loma Road and State Route 238 within the city of Maricopa incorporated limits, from industrial CI2 to planned area development PAD as described in case PAD 19-03. The parcel of land is located in the portion of section 21 of Township 4 South, Range 3 East of the Gila and Salt River Base and Meridian, Pinal County, Arizona. This is for discussion and action. Take it away.
Vice Mayor, Mayor, council members, this item is for the proposed zone change, as mentioned, for 35 approximate acres from existing industrial zone CI2 zoning district to planning development zoning district for proposed mixed-use development. The applicant request is in step 2 of the development process. The site currently has mixed-use land use designation for the city from the city's approved general plan, so no amendment to the general plan was needed as part of this process. After completion of the rezoning, the applicant will proceed with the site development, site planning, which reviews the details of site building, location, elevation details, landscaping, road designs, etc. Here are the general facts, which can be found also within your staff analysis section of the staff report. The site is located at the southeast corner of Loma Road and State Route 238, shown here in the yellow border square, north of Estrella Gin Business Park and east of Acacia Crossing subdivision. This is the city's general plan map, land use map, and as mentioned previously, the site is already designated as a mixed-use designation from the city's voter-approved general plan land use. The yellow star is the subject property. The site was first rezoned from general rural to industrial zone in 1963 under the county's jurisdiction. This proposal, again, is to rezone the property to conform to the city's general plan for planning development for a proposed mixed-use development that will include single-family for rent development, multi-story, multifamily development, and a commercial, retail, and/or office component along a Main Street type concept. The rezone this request is somewhat consider a downzoning from industrial zoning to more of a mixed use. Being an industrial zoning does have a greater impact to the area than a proposed PAD zoning. PADs are developed with the notion to enhance design and health elements. This PAD will create development standards for setbacks, restricted permitted uses, parking ratio standards, and including enhancing architecture design guidelines to enhance and create a placemaking atmosphere within the development. Regarding traffic, a preliminary traffic impact analysis was completed to assess traffic and transportation impacts on the surrounding streets and intersections. This was prepared in conformance with the city's Maricopa study requirements and was reviewed by the city engineer. It analyzed the turn lane off of State Route 238 onto Loma Road, which will be improved as part of this development application and further analyzed and also enacted as part of the site development process. Initial recommendations from the preliminary traffic impact analysis did not warrant a traffic signal at the intersection of State Route 238 and Loma Road. However, participation from the developer is being recommended by the city engineer as future growth in the surrounding will be warranted there. The traffic impact analysis has also assessed the right turn and left turn lanes to the development, which will warrant improvements as well. It also evaluates the need of deceleration lanes on Loma Road and State Route 238. And lastly, ultimately, the city engineer is working with the developer and ADOT, being that State Route 238 is still an ADOT highway, to provide the best solution for the development and the citizens of Maricopa, as the traffic improvements will be finalized as part of the next development process, site planning. This is the conceptual PAD land use map that shows the location of the commercial retail office along State Route 238, top left portion. Notice a Main Street concept on the southern side, followed by the multi-story, multi-family story apartment to the south. The remaining yellow on the right side is the proposed single story for rent development, which the city's been seeing over the past year and a half. This will nicely transition with the single family subdivision to the east. Loma Road is on the left side, and the spine road in the middle is in the middle connects to each land use area and back to the arterial roadways off of Loma Road and State Route 238. As previously mentioned, this PD proposal will provide architectural design guidelines for multifamily and mixed-use development areas to further enhance the goals and advancement of the city's general plan for village center type nodes built around pedestrian experiences. Here's an enhanced exhibit illustrating pedestrian vehicular connectivity around the site. We do want to commend the applicant for enhancing the pedestrian connectivity around the area, which again, we commend for the design features part of this project. Another site enhancement is a roundabout design that again garners towards a pedestrian comfortability level and experience for residents in the area. The applicant has followed requirements as set forth in the city zoning code for public participation, which included mailing notices, newspaper notices, sign postings, and the required neighborhood meeting. After the P&Z recommendation was held on February 8th, staff did receive a call on general concerns regarding regional traffic with this development, and also some concerns on privacy with the multi-story type developments on this project. So regarding privacy concerns with the residential subdivision, the applicant has provided this exhibit to understand the line of sight with the potential development. This is a cross-section looking north. The right side is the existing subdivision in the middle of Acacia Crossings. In the middle is a single-family for rent product, that large cluster of single-family buildings there, which also matches, again, similar height to Acacia Crossings, followed by the spine road and the multi-story, which is capped at 42 feet high, left side of the exhibit. The line represents the line of sight and the impasse it will have to kind of partake with a large distance in between. But notice the line of sight from the top of the roof. If the line of sight started at the second story, window, the line of sight will actually be less intrusive to the residential subdivision itself. So it's really general viewpoint of where someone will be at, not on top of the roof. The Planning and Zoning Commission made the following findings in the recommendation to the council. The amendment is consistent with the general plan, subdivision ordinance, and any applicable master plans of the city. The site is physically suitable for the type and intensity of the land use being proposed. And the development carries out a more efficient use of land and an excellence in architecture and site design part of this proposal. On February 8th, 2021, the P&Z Commission recommended approval of PAD 1903, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report and as amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Vice Mayor, Mayor, Council members, we do have our case planner who oversaw this project, Brian Easton. Also, the applicant is here, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, if any. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. Council, any questions at this time on this particular issue? Yes, Councilmember Wade.
Hey, Rudy, how are you this evening? I have one quick question on the amendments that were proposed. Can you give us an understanding of what they were, please?
Sure. Let me just go back to that slide so I could talk through that. So I believe, Councilmember Wade, the PAD will create development standards such as setbacks, restricted permitted uses, parking ratio standards, additional standards. So a planning development is designed where this becomes its own zoning district, and this develops its own zoning development standards as part of that. So setbacks is to garner the type of intensity of maybe some buildings being closer to the roadways. Permitted uses, having more permitted uses that's more in line with this development itself and not just a general broad category of these are the lists of X amount of uses. This will be more specific for this unique development. Parking ratio standards, based on the intensity and the amount of different uses, we're looking at different ratio standards that are being proposed as part of this development, which would be separate from the city standards itself. And then also some additional development standards to kind of continue to garner that Main Street concept to provide developments to further enhance pedestrian experience along that area.
Did you receive any comments or concerns or letters reference setbacks from folks that were outside the 300-foot radius?
Councilmember Wade and Mayor, yes, we did. Outside of the radius of 300 feet, we did get some concerns. That's what I mentioned in my presentation. There was concerns about the visibility or concerns of privacy of that, but the resident was outside of the 300 feet notice area.
And you were able to please them with the...
Other than just providing information and at least presenting, at least conveying the message that of concerns of privacy with a multi-story development that's about 600 feet away. This exhibit really illustrates that we don't see any potential nuisance concerns with this type of height area being so set back from the residential occasion crossings.
And just for information, and it's not necessarily totally relevant, but was it just the one complaint that you received in reference to setbacks?
I did just get one phone call after the P&Z recommendation, on February 8th, yes.
Council, if I may, the drawing, when you see about the fifth house from the side, you'll start seeing rooftops. You won't be able to see the backyard. And then when you hit the 6-foot fence, you won't see anyone's backyard. And the house adjacent to it, unless you're taller than 6 feet and can look over the wall, there will be no visibility of anyone's backyard with this project.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions, council, this time for Rudy? Okay, is there a recommendation here? A motion from Councilmember Wade. Is there a second? Second from Councilmember Marsh. Sorry, I didn't see you fast enough. Apologies. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay.
Yeah, Christian, 1 second.
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Manfredi.
I was trying to find a place to interrupt there to just say something. I got a lot of calls personally about this project and the zoning change. And I've been able to talk to quite a few people via email, text, everything, voice. And the biggest concern they have is the traffic and what's happening there. Now, knowing that this is not anything to do with traffic right now. It's a zoning case right now, or a zoning ordinance. But I explained to them, and I just wanted everyone to know that the traffic patterns and all the traffic studies and everything that's going to have to be done for the actual development are going to happen later. So we're not ignoring the fact that there's going to be traffic issues in the area. That's why Edison Road, of course, is going to 4 lanes right now. And eventually, 238 is probably going to be 4 lanes in that area anyway. So I just wanted people to understand that the traffic concerns are heard. And, you know, a vote for changing the zoning today does not mean we're not paying attention to the traffic issues that are going to.
Thank you, Councilman
That's
Manfredi. Thank you, Councilman Manfredi. Well said.
Mayor, if I could just add to Councilman Manfredi's comment, not only does the zoning does not greenlight the project. It has to stand on its own merits. And if you go back to that slide with the 3 steps, Rudy, at the very beginning, keep going. There, you see site plan and plating. So we'll determine what those issues are, and they'll have to mitigate those issues, meaning widen the roads, put in the decel lanes, all those type of things that was addressed in Rudy's comments earlier. If they're not able to do that, then we have to look at a different project.
Precisely.
Thanks.
Please proceed.
Oh, thank you, I said. That was all.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for your comments. Perfect. So there's a motion, a second on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, that'll take us to 8.2, which is Resolution 21-09, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Maricopa, Arizona, declaring as a public record that certain document filed with the city clerk and entitled 2021 Amendments to Title 18 Zoning related to the update of rules and regulations relating to zoning within the city of Maricopa and amending certain provisions of Chapter 18.05 through 18.205 of the Maricopa City Code. This is for discussion and action. And again, this is an item related to Ordinance 21-05 that we just voted on. Any further discussion for us there, Rudy? Go ahead.
Vice Mayor, Mayor, council members, I know the ordinance is next, so I can speak, if I could briefly do a quick presentation on this one, on the resolution. Okay. This item is for a minor update to the city zoning code for the listed code sections shown below. The code sections varies from specific zoning districts to specific standards for specific uses. Since the adoption of the code in 2016, staff has been keeping somewhat of a laundry list of proposed changes, and this update focuses on a couple things: being more direct with code standards, with developers and applicants, removing restrictive regulations, reducing vagueness and contradicting statements, adding flexibility to meet general intent of design aesthetic standards that are not somewhat life safety in nature, and update with recent state law changes. Such proposed amendments include modifying public outreach within the Heritage District, a new proposed overlay within the area, within the city, reducing minimum building height requirements for mixed-use Heritage District, adding design standards for shopping cart utilization, updating mobile merchants with state law, revising the minimum notification outreach to 600 feet instead of 300 feet, notices written in both English and Spanish as general disclaimers in our outreach procedures, shipping container design enhancements for accessory structures within the city, and design enhancement for street and on-site parking lighting. And lastly, increasing waiver standards for dimensional waivers from 10% to 20%. This originally was initiated in the spring of 2020, and most recently, the public outreach legislative process began by holding a 30-day public review period, a public reading, a public hearing during the P&Z Commission, and finally action by the P&Z Commission on February 8th. The typo on the presentation should be March 2nd for City Council. I apologize on that. As required by the city's zoning code, the code update included multifaceted outreach that included public web posting, stakeholder mailing lists, 30-day public review, public readings at the P&Z Commission, public hearings, and newspaper notices in both Maricopa Monitor and the Casa Grande Dispatch. So the city received several public comments during the 30-day public review period. These next couple of slides, and I'll try to be brief as best, but just specific and clear, concise on these. A quick overview on each one of these comments with recommendations from staff. Comment regarding regulations for daycare facilities such as traffic, information, and playground restriction is already in our code, so there's no changes necessary for the current proposal there. Comment on food and beverages sales, specific uses. Originally, we had some specific language for shopping cart locking mechanism standards for any new facility that has that type of usage for carts. However, our legal team and management team are working on a separate ordinance that's going to cover that item there. So if anything, this zoning code will simply reference that section of the city code for now. Comment on mobile merchants. A minor comment to relocate a statement for general flow of the language itself. It's just a statement that wasn't flowing right as part of that, so staff agrees with this comment from the public. Comment regarding landscaping. This landscape language was originally somewhat confusing, first of all. So we had modified it with the proposed language to clarify, but at the same token, added additional language to assure landscape enhances an area before the city gives credit to a development for that. So the new language will read as the following, where any parking area landscaping that exceeds the minimal requirements of the code shall be counted as open space if determined by the zone administrator that the landscape area enhances the general area proposed. Comment regarding landscaping again. This request is to add under the parking code to minimize conflict with 88 parking stalls with vegetation, which staff agrees. That was an easy fix. Comment regarding the Heritage District Advisory Committee. We did get several comments from the P&Z commissioners and the public to not remove the Heritage District Committee. However, we want to reiterate, staff has received comments of support of holding less restrictive neighborhood meetings rather than formal Heritage District meetings, just to garner additional input from the community itself. Staff recommends modifying this code by eliminating the formal Heritage District Advisory Committee meetings and in their place, less formal neighborhood meetings, which have proven to be more productive in nature, better atmosphere for citizens to provide feedback, but ultimately, it's a policy decision of council on this one. Comment regarding Technical Advisory Committee. This revised the language to a more general language rather than specifying specific entities and organizations. I think that was a good one. As organizations, entities changes over time, we could make it more general and broad, so that was an easy fix. Comments regarding base zoning districts. This is in regards to the alternative design idea that gives staff the authority to work with applicants on alternative design regulations that are not life safety measures and somewhat more aesthetic related. Staff prefers this proposed language where the zoning administrator may evaluate and possibly accept or recommend to the decision-making body alternative design requirements to meet the intent and the spirit of the code and other policy documents of the city of Maricopa. It gives us authority, but at the same token, it gives us some teeth to make sure that we're making a sound decision based on policies of the city itself. Comment regarding waiver fees. After further evaluating this change of the code, it was originally proposed to make some modifications, but however, looking at it more further in detail, staff feels that no change is really necessary to the current code language, as it further provides options with staff to continue to work with developers on a case-by-case basis than being more specific and process procedures. Comment regarding dimensional standards or dimensional waivers. This is a recommendation from staff to increase the waiver section for administrative relief on dimensional standards. If it's someone having trouble with a couple inches of feet on a setback or a requirement, this gives the authority for staff to do increase from 10% to 20%. And we found this to be useful over the past 5 years to avoid various variances to the Board of Adjustments. We were able to work with staff, with applicants on a more administrative level. Lastly, the comment regarding neighborhood meetings. This is in regards to increasing the outreach from 300 to 600 feet. Other than clarification from the P&Z Commission on the general impact to staff, time, resource, financial increase, there is no major impact to staff resources or time or financial increase to staff on that. So that's that. In regards to the city's general plan, This amendment request to the city zoning code is in line with the continuous evaluation of codes of the city for the betterment of streamlining the city's development process. And on February 8th, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of text amendment case 20-04, minor zoning code update. Vice Mayor, Mayor, council members, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions, if any.
Thank you, Rudy. Questions? Yes, Councilmember Wade.
I just wanted a question for clarification, Rudy, on the slide that was before the project profile.
You let me know, and I'll.
Slide right before it.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, it was
That's not it. It was the name of the file, or the slide itself was project profile.
project profile.
You talked about parking, but you said lighting.
Was parking? Okay. Are you talking about the parking lot lighting or more? Because
I wasn't sure. That's why I was looking for clarification whether it was something to adjust the parking or if it was to adjust the lighting.
Okay, let me go back to. I didn't know what you're talking about.
There you go. Let's see.
So
design enhancement for street and on-site parking, and you said lighting. Parking, lighting.
Yeah, Councilmember Wade, Vice Mayor, Mayor. These are just, if you've noticed more recently on our parking lot lights standards, for example, we're at Iconic Tires. There are more decorative parking lot light fixtures out there. So we've been playing around with that with developers, which it's been a positive to see that type of aesthetic standards. So this will continue to add more aesthetic design enhancements for parking lot lighting. Also, for residential subdivisions, we are now enacting more decorative light fixtures within our neighborhood roads. So this is now codifying that throughout the entire city.
And council, if I may share another example, typically in the past, our sidewalks have been immediately behind the back of curb. And now we're pushing those back, so we have a landscape strip behind the curb and the sidewalk, which adds to the aesthetics, but also keeps our citizens safer by pushing them back. Those are the type of enhancements we're talking about. It's really the same amount of land, same amount of concrete, just stacking it a little differently and providing for that pretty landscape and separation between the driving surface and the walking surface. So those are the type of enhancements we're talking about.
And
Councilor Wade, do you have another question?
one, in reference to the Heritage District position. How that took place and what was it?
Councilmember Wade, can you just repeat that question? I didn't get. Sorry. It's okay. No.
Heritage, on the Heritage District Advisory Committee, what was the flavor of that conversation there? Because you indicated that it was something to consider because the formal seemed to not be working as well as we probably would want it to, and the formality of it being part of the reason why.
Yeah.
And was that consistent with the community that is supported by the Heritage District Committee? And if so, then I would be comfortable with that.
Sure.
You can share Grace Gomez's comments.
Right. Vice Mayor, Mayor, if anything, I can somewhat attest for participating in the Heritage District Committee for over the past 5+ years or so. I have seen where we're not getting as much public participation from the neighborhoods in that area. And I can understand why we as staff are proposing this type of another element of getting more outreach. When we did the Maricopa Station overlay about a year ago and was able to have a neighbor meeting type of format, we actually got a lot more participation than ever just by having that formality of that. We did contact every Heritage District Committee member to let them know of this proposal, and even a representative of the area, Grace Gomez, that gave us full support that this makes sense to garner more input, more ways to get people involved in that community itself. Grace Gomez is one of the members that's really part of the committee, but also lives in the committee as well, as keep in mind, not all of our committee members live in the community of the Heritage District.
When asking the question, of course, Grace is who's in the back of my mind because I know that she's the one that has the most influence in how things go. So I'm good with that, as long as certainly that she was included in the process.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Video, would you hold for 1 second? She has a follow-on to that question, if you can hold for 1 second. So, Vice Mayor.
I just wanted to provide clarity from the perspective of, I've been for the last 6 years the council liaison on the Heritage Committee and attended most all of the committee meetings. The meetings and the committee itself worked fine, but I also attended the community outreach and can vouch for the fact that the community outreach brought in much more fruit, much more comment, much more feedback that was helpful to making decisions than what the committee did. So there wasn't anything wrong with the committee. It's just that I saw that the public outreach provided us way more information and feedback that we can use as valuable information to make decisions.
Agree.
Thank you, Councilmember Video. Time is yours.
Rudy, I just wanted to ask on the variance, going from 300 feet to 600 feet. So if somebody in a neighborhood just want to build something, they'd have to go 600 feet radius opposed to where we currently are at 300 feet?
Correct, and that's, typically, we do it from the subject property, or we have the authority to do from the area that's impacted, so, the area of disturbance. Sometimes someone comes in for a large parcel, and they're only disturbing 1/10 of that parcel, so it really depends. Typically be for property lines, but we can also vouch from the area that's being disturbed on that land.
Because originally I had thought it was more for commercial. I know it was brought up with the library. There was a meeting but for a residential area, don't you think 600 feet is going to be quite a large, extensive area that the resident has to do a lot of work?
Rudy, if you could clarify things like doing an add-on or building a shed in the backyard,
Agreed.
Those aren't part of it.
No,
Yeah.
a variance where you have to give them a little extra. It used to be 300 feet, now that would go to 600, right?
So, Councilmember Vitiello, Mayor, if someone was coming in there for a variance, as part of the process, as I know you went through the process, it does require for a neighborhood meeting, and in that instance, it would be a 600 feet radius, doing a radius map of notifications for that one request itself. That would be correct, yes.
And the city provides all the addresses.
Yeah, we have the resources to provide that very easily for the applicant.
It's a lot of work.
It is, no, and we do it within a matter of a minute, so it's nowadays a lot better than it was 10 years ago. Where
just don't want to
you have to get a title company to give you all the information. We do it with our GIS system.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions at this time? So, one of the issues as we get to having no other questions, as we get to making a motion on this, while it's a resolution, as you saw on the slides, there were a variety of recommendations that staff made, but there were a couple that were left a little bit open-ended. The ones that I have in my follow-on here is the Heritage District, and that we accept the recommendation to essentially dissolve the Heritage District Committee from a formality standpoint and accept the more informal way of doing neighborhood meetings. And then there was another one for the 600 feet versus 300 feet. So whoever makes a motion, and if there's were there any others on there? I think the other one was just the general accepting the recommendations. The staff recommends modifying code, eliminating formal Heritage District, holding their place, less formal. Okay,
Go over.
So basically those two, if you go back a slide, I think we just advanced one. If whoever makes the motion would make the motion to accept staff's recommendations, including those two.
Rudy,
Understand?
were there any other recommendations that?
Real quick, I'm sorry, from staff, these were the only two. I think there was one more, but I think.
Actually, Council, the Heritage Committee staff recommendation, if you pass it tonight, at face value, would eliminate the Heritage Committee. The only one really is these 300 versus 600.
300, okay, 600, got it, okay. Okay, so anyone like to make that motion at this time, including the 300, 600? Vice Mayor?
So I move that we approve item 8.2, resolution 2109, with the decision to move to the 600-foot versus the 300-foot notification process.
Perfect. There's been a motion, a second. We'll get Ms. Learman on this one. and hit with the second. Do you have a question? No. Oh, okay. Sorry. Just trying to skip around here. Appreciate the participation of this group. I really do. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any further? Oh, yes. Have a little bit more discussion here from Nathan Steele.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that, just to clarify, the motion was to adopt the resolution with the staff recommendations as presented, along with the 600-foot.
That's correct.
Okay, just that clarification.
But this would also then, we have under boards and commissions, the Heritage District. This would eliminate the Heritage District from that section of the code also.
That's correct.
Got it?
Yep. Okay, motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion at this time? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, great. Thank you very much, Rudy, for that. And the next succeeding item here at 8.3 is the ordinance relating to the last one we just talked about in extensive. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Arizona, Maricopa, Arizona, adopting 2021 amendments to Title 18 zoning by reference to amend certain provisions of Chapter 18.05 through 18.205 of the Maricopa City Code and providing for the severability and the effective date thereof, obviously for discussion and action. Any further discussion on this item as we just went through it at length on the previous item? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? A motion from Vice Mayor, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Learman. With that, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right. Thank you very much for your participation this evening. We appreciate you all being with us. Thank you for the presentation, staff, and we will stand adjourned for 2 weeks, in which we'll see you again. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Motion, is there a second? And a second from Councilmember Manfredi. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Thanks.